through our pledge to America's workers, spearheaded by a young woman that perhaps some of you may have heard of, Ivanka Trump. Over 415 companies have committed, these are the big companies for the most part, have committed to providing new jobs and training opportunities to nearly 15 million Americans. You know, when she started, she said, "Daddy, I want to help people get jobs." This was at the beginning of the administration. She said, "I'm working on 500,000 jobs." So she'd call Walmart, she'd call all these great companies. So she had a goal of 500,000, 500,000 jobs. Sounds like a lot. I said, that's a lot. She just broke 15 million jobs. Amazing. 15 million.
Okay, so Trump is saying that Ivanka created 15 million jobs, which, to be clear, is more than double the number of jobs that have been created in the United States since Trump took office. But yeah, no, other than that, it totally checks out. In other words, no, Ivanka Trump did not create 15 million jobs in an economy that has only seen 6.6 million jobs added in Trump's term. Unless, of course, we're counting sweatshops overseas, but I'm not entirely positive we can count those for jobs in the US. And by the way, this isn't the first time that Trump has told this lie, although the number has been increasing on a monthly basis. Here's Trump in December claiming that Ivanka created 14 million jobs.
I want to thank Ivanka, and from the very beginning, it's true. Yeah. From the very beginning, it's been an extraordinary, she has been so extraordinary in terms of her advocacy for America's working families. 14 million people she's gotten jobs for, where she'd go into Walmart, she'd go into our great companies and say, they really want help, they really want you to teach them, because the government can't teach like the companies can teach. And companies would take 500,000 people, 1 million people. And her goal when she started it 2 years ago was 500,000 jobs. She's done over 14 million, so that's really something.
In other words, not only are Ivanka's imaginary jobs being created, but they're increasing at a pretty unprecedented clip. In all seriousness, what Trump is attempting to reference is the White House's Pledge to America's Workers, a workforce policy board that Ivanka co-chairs, which works with private companies to get them to offer training opportunities to workers. So far, the board has worked with about 200 companies that have pledged to offer what I suppose are 15 million training opportunities over the next 5 years. Only, a pledge for something to happen over the next 5 years is not something that has already been achieved. And a training opportunity is not a job, what with it being a training opportunity. And even Ivanka herself has taken to parroting this lie. During a White House event on October 31st, she said, "We're up to 6.3 million new jobs. That represents 5% of the current workforce, so that's really remarkable." Only, again, it's neither 6.3 million new jobs, nor is it 5% of the current workforce, because they are training opportunities. She even took to Twitter today to quote tweet her father's claim, writing, 15 million and counting. And look, securing the promise of training opportunities is objectively a good thing, 100%. But lying about what they are to make yourself look better undermines the entire accomplishment and makes the whole thing about the lie. And by the way, Trump has a pretty rocky history with telling the truth about job creation. He came into office on the pretense that no one would be able to create more jobs than he could, when in reality, the number of jobs Trump's created isn't even as high as his immediate predecessor, Barack Obama. During Trump's first 3 years in office, the economy gained 6.6 million new jobs. During a comparable 3-year period at the end of Obama's term, because remember, Obama took office amid a recession from the last Republican administration, the economy added 8.1 million jobs, or 23% more than what's been added during Trump's tenure. In fact, the United States hasn't seen so few jobs added under a president since Republican George H.W. Bush in the early 90s. And prior to him, you'd have to go all the way back to Republican Gerald Ford in the 70s. And the only Democrat to actually create less jobs than Trump was John F. Kennedy, and the guy was killed 2 years into his term. So look, again, I'm not saying that Trump isn't doing fine in terms of job creation. I'm just saying he's subpar when compared to the vast majority of American presidents in the last half century. And look, on its face, this wouldn't be an issue, since the economy is still doing well. But when Trump has positioned himself as the sole person on the face of the earth, that he and only he can create jobs, at a bare minimum, when that's the bar he set for himself, he might want to make sure to at least get more than the very last guy to hold office. Of course, course, when you're Trump, it doesn't matter because he's realized that regardless of whether something is true or not, he'll just say it. He doesn't need to have more jobs to claim that he's created more jobs than any other president in American history, even though in reality, that couldn't be farther from the truth. He doesn't care if Ivanka Trump creating 15 million jobs would make her the third most successful president in the last 100 years. He just says it because words don't mean anything with him, and anything he says is the result of some errant synapse firing in his brain and then falling out of his mouth. Of course, there are still a couple of us out there for whom facts count, and if you're one of those people, chances are you're probably not enjoying this presidency.